Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play series for Total War 3 Kingdoms, as we are trying out Shi Xie's faction. And not only are we playing Shi Xie, which is a free LC, it's a free downloadable content, you can grab it as long as you have the base game. We are also going to be adding a few mods. In terms of a few mods, it's technically one mod, but it comes in two parts because it's quite large in terms of how much it changes the game, and it is the Radious mod. You can find the link to this mod under the description below the video, and it will link you to the workshop where you can try out the mod yourself. It's mainly an overhaul mod. It doesn't add any new unique characters, but it adds a ton of new units for all the factions in the game, which kind of shores up Shi Xie's weakness in that his faction does not have a single unique unit. Now we're going to get a bunch. Most other factions in the game will also get a bunch of new units to try out. So we'll be facing a lot of new units, and we'll also be trying out a lot of new units. On top of that, the mod also overhauls the economic system in the game, mainly buffing the income given by a lot of the buildings, so that you can afford the armies that you might want to build because you have this unit overhaul added into the game. So we're going to take a look at all the things the mod changes. It's the only mod we're technically using, so we'll be able to attribute all the changes to the mod. Now, Shi Xie's faction is pretty vanilla in general. No unique buildings, no unique units, and he does have one special mechanic, which are the tribute chest, which uses the Splendor resource. Now, Splendor as a resource, when you have a high amount of it, will automatically increase your trade influence, public order, and diplomatic relations. You can also spend these Splendor resource to create tribute chests. These are items. They're bronze quality accessory items that you can equip on your generals for 20 turns. Once you equip them, they stay on for 20 turns, or you can trade them in diplomacy as a tribute chest. They'll be worth exactly what a bronze item is worth, which is actually not that much now that it's been nerfed a few times in the game. I think they nerfed it 1.6, so it hasn't been worth a lot, but still, it's a nice little item you can create to give yourself bonuses or to trade them in diplomacy. We are once again a governor faction, so we will not be spawning a capital, imperial capital when we become a king rank. We have to capture all three. We have a unique effect with family, where marrying, adopting will all be reduced cost. By reduced cost, they mean 50% discount. So that will help us create this bond, because as Shi Xie's faction is focused on family and tribute, anyone who is family has the opportunity to provide us splendor by being administrators, by being faction leaders, by being our vassals. So that's kind of how we want to utilize our characters. We're probably going to adopt a lot of characters. We're going to have huge families, because one weakness of Shi Xie's faction is that if the character is not part of your family, they're going to complain and lose satisfaction. So that's something we have to balance out. In terms of our leader here, he is quite old at the beginning, but I believe his death doesn't start ticking until 70, so we have at least, a good 10 years or so with him, so not too worried about that. As a character, he is quite strong. He is given the Spirit trait, which we always really enjoy, debuffing enemy ammo and increasing our own ammo, as well as providing a lot of stats. Clever adds a lot of cunning and also character experience gain, which is compounded with the scholarly trait here. He also enjoys some faction-wide bonuses on his background title of Governor Shi. Makes sense, he is the governor of the Jiao province, far down south. 8% recruitment cost discount for all range units, so these are the blue units, and +1 extra trade agreement. Technically not that strong. Recruitment costs is definitely not what you want to discount. If you can discount, compared to recruitment versus upkeep, I'll take upkeep every time because that's every turn, whereas recruitment's sort of this one-time cost. So faction-wide bonus is quite weak. As a faction leader, being a strategist is quite weak. There's not a lot on your tree that benefit the faction as a whole, and you also don't start out with high cunning. So we're going to have to overcome a lot of that. And not only are we going to overcome all of that on legendary difficulty with 40-minute battle timer, these are all the same. We are going to be doing this on records modes. So previously, all our campaigns on the channel have been in romance mode. This is more of a character-centric Total War battle experience where we have faction leaders and generals who are single entity, powerful units on the battlefield that can 1v100, 1v1000. Now we're going back to the more traditional unit-centric Total War battle experience. So for those of you whose first experience into the Total War genre has been Three Kingdoms, you're pretty used to romance mode, but believe it or not, before Three Kingdoms, before Warhammer, there was a time when Total War games was always just records mode, where your general is riding into battle as a cavalry unit with a group of bodyguards. So they're basically a single carrier, a single unit of a cavalry, unit like any other unit in the game, with a very strong leader in the front. Probably slightly more stats, but just the average unit. And then we're gonna have to rely on maneuvering and basically the typical Total War experience before all these single entities got into the game. For better or worse, depending on your take on it, I quite enjoy romance mode, and even the changes in the fantasy elements of the game for Warhammer and all that, I don't mind it. At the same time, I've been playing Total War since Medieval 2, so I had my fair share of records mode, and we played a bit of Troy, which actually, for most of the battle, resembles records mode. Sure, there are single entities in that mode as well, but they don't hit as hard as Three Kingdom generals. You still have to rely on flanking, rely on good maneuvering, and that's something that we will have to do in this campaign. Shi Xie's faction's ranked as hard. If we look at his map, we're doing the 190 start, by the way. We get missions this way to kind of guide us with his faction, and also to kind of take a look at all the Naval factions when they're still small and not confederated. As you've moved down the timeline, they become kind of these, single big entities that you have to deal with. So things should be a little bit more interesting when they're all separated like this. We also will not be seeing any juggernauts. I think the records mode take those units away. They're considered fantasy unit. I think that's what record mode does. I don't think that's something the mod does, because I know, at least I went into the game to take a look at things that are changed. Oh, actually, no. I think that's something that the mod takes away, because when I first took a look, I was still on romance mode. Anyways, we'll talk about all the differences once we do jump into game. But this will be a very different experience, and we're starting out with a lot of enemies around us, but they're very passive, so they're not hard to deal with, and we'll try to fight our way out to take control of the south. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this campaign, and let's jump in here. China must be united.
主公，您被任命为交趾郡太守，已3年有余。自您赴任以来，朝野上下愈发混乱不堪。但您必须守卫国土，不能坐视家国被乱党的利爪所伤。玉林、高梁与九真的军阀均有不臣之心，必须击溃他们的野心。您已经向天下证明了自己的实力，如今您应当悉心看护您的领土。您的疆域虽然辽阔，但南境之地仍需发展与治理。您族子孙如有鸿鹄之志，必成英主，得您时时教诲，可为国家长盛不衰筑下坚实基石。另，汝需对越境部落多加小心。大一些的部落中不乏智慧的头人，或可用言语安抚，无需动用武力，但要小心边境附近的目录大王，他对一切示好一概拒之。无论前路如何，主公，请您牢记使命。您是陛下钦点之人，必当为南境带来和平。
Alrighty, that was a long flyby, by the way. Anyhow, we are ruler of the southern lands. You have been appointed as the ruler of Jiaozhu Commandery. Well, this is certainly an honor. This territory is also far from the Han government, far from inspectors, and far from your culture. Many will consider this nomination a vile insult, but truly, there is boundless opportunity. You can use this land and its remoteness to create your own empire within the empire, and to secure a future for the Shi family for generations to come. Okay, so we can appoint family members to positions of power to generate splendor, let splendor accumulate for faction-wide bonuses, or use it to purchase tribute chests, powerful auxiliary that gives strong bonuses to characters when equipped. Our first mission is to assign Shi Xie to Administrator post. Path to Glory. Get some additional population growth per county, +5 public order, plus 15% income from peasantry. Pretty nice bonuses. So let's first take a look at our starting position. We own quite a few counties to start. We have Jiaozhi, where we are assigned to be the administrator. Around 188, the emperor sent us down. It is not a vile insult. We volunteered. So Shi Xie's family was historically from, I believe, the Shandong Peninsula area, but they evacuated south as refugees very early on in the Eastern Han Dynasty, and they've been living here ever since. Shi Xie was born, I believe, in Jiuzhen. There is an area over here where his father was the old administrator, and he was raised over here, but obviously schooling here is not great, so when he comes of age, he's sent to the capital to study under a much more famous Confucian scholar. So he's been living in the capital, and then following up school, he worked in the capital in the imperial court as a clerk. And there was rebellions during this time in the south. There's constant rebellions in these far fringe areas, dealing with the Yue people, dealing with even local Han lords. And because there's rebellions, there was a lack of administrator in the area. Now, typically, Shi Xie will not be picked, because his father was currently administrator, and usually you don't want the father and the son to both be ruling basically two commanderies within an entire province. But luckily for him, sad for him as well, the father would die, I think around 187 of old age. And because of that, there was an opening, and Shi Xie volunteers to come back, take care of the rebellion. So he does. He gets assigned to Jiaozhi over here. Quite big of a commandery. And after a few years of governing the place and taking care of the rebellions, there was an opening in 3 other commanderies in nearby areas. And at the time, no one really wanted this assignment. For everyone else who's not from the region, right? You got to think Shi Xie is born here. This is very, very far away. Just traveling from the capital down here is a risky journey that you might not survive. So very few people wanted these appointments. So the government had a very hard time finding administrators. So that's when Shi Xie came in with the offer. He offered his 3 brothers as potential to fill those roles. So right now we only have one such brother in our court, and he is given the title of the Complacent Administrator. Not very good faction-wide bonuses, but he has 15 points of satisfaction on himself and 50 points of stat. Being a sentinel is pretty good. He does start out with a title, which we can get rid of, but we want to give him an administrator role, which kind of follows history. And the only commandery that we have is Hepu and the capital one. Now, obviously, we're not actually administrator in the game because we're a faction leader, so we can't really govern our own capital here. But I kind of want to put him in Hepu in case we can give him up. By give him up, I mean make him independent, grant him independence, so he'll become a vassal. Because splendor is gained by having family members in court positions within our court, or having them lead other factions. So creating vassal factions using the grant independence is a great way to gain splendor. Splendor as a resource goes from, as you can see, 0 points to 260, which is maximum. At 65 is the first mark. The reason why this is a mark is because every chest costs exactly 65 to trade for. We'll talk about the chest shortly. We don't have enough for a chest. I'm pretty sure the early game missions will lead us to that. But the second mark is to 130, another 65, basically 1 chest, 2 chests. And in this tier, we gain 10% trade influence. Here, we gain nothing as a faction-wide bonus. And once you're above 130, between 130 to 260, 260 is 4 times 65, so nice multiple of how much it costs to get our chest. We get quite a few faction-wide bonuses, so keeping above 130 is probably the optimum play, and you get 15 points of satisfaction faction-wide, counteracts the legendary 10-point penalty, 5 points of public order, which you can think about as almost 1 unit of tax increase, because it's 6 point here for the first one, so that's like 10% income essentially. and then 15% trade influence. You should be able to maintain a lot of trade network because you'll be releasing a lot of vassals and you can guarantee a trade route with them. So that's kind of the playstyle that we're kind of going for in the beginning. It's also kind of weird that's called godlike, but I think I get it. The idea here is not you're godlike for war, but you're godlike in terms of wealth and splendor, which is what Shi Xie's family eventually did in this region. They traveled in style, these gold gilded carriages, and entourage of men as they went everywhere. So they lived like emperors essentially. We are looking at this. This is something unique to us, the crossroads of culture and commerce, as we are on basically the path of what's called the Naval Silk Road. Hepu is actually a huge port for this. This is one of the few settlements in the south. So you can imagine China during this period is population densely in the north, some in the central plains. When you get to the Yangtze River, this area is relatively undeveloped. This is, like as the map suggests, largely abandoned, very few settlements here. But once you hit the ports in this area, you start getting settlements again as they linked up the trade with the rest of Asia, going all the way even to the Middle East, leading the ports to like the Red Sea. So very busy ports here. That's why we have this, crossroad of culture and commerce. It's both ways in terms of trade, There are goods leaving China and coming in. There's culture leaving China and coming in. For example, Buddhism is coming in from India. Meanwhile, Confucian ideals and the Chinese written language is going into areas like Vietnam today. And Shi Xie is often credited as someone who passed on the language, the written language, to the Vietnamese people. And plus, like Long Bian, this area right now, in modern day would be parts of modern day Vietnam. Anyhow, we are going to take a look at something that pretty much catch everyone's eyes, and these are the unit cards. Now, the units here are not changed that much. They are still your typical Z militia, Z infantry. They just look a little different in terms of unit card art. I think this is just part of the mod. I am not a huge fan of it. Like, I prefer to use these faceless cards because they're minimalistic, and now with this circle behind, it doesn't look that minimum anymore. It's going to take us a while to get used to them. But at least the weapon is still pretty identifiable, and the color is definitely kind of strengthened with this circle. But that's not really the main thing we want to focus on. The main thing we want to focus on is actually we're going to come into the military tab to look at our special unit. So we went from no faction-wide unit to a ton of faction-wide units. We can't recruit any of them yet. We're recording right now, but we can't recruit any of them yet because we are not at the right level. Rank 4 requirement, rank 4 requirement, rank 5 requirement. This is a dragon unit. There is a new set of dragon unit as well. Jasper Dragon's not a thing before. And the mod adds a ton of unit. You might love this, you might hate it. Really up to you. We're just here to try it out, really. The thing about adding so many unit is that it's really hard to differentiate units when the game, like Three Kingdom, features all human, right? We're in historical mode. Everyone, or we have a historical setting. Like all the units will be humans, so you can tweak the stat a little. But weapons, you have bows. Here we have some javelins because we have some Nanyue flare. Nanyue means the southern Yue people. You can think of this area as what used to be the Kingdom of Yue, or the Kingdom of Nanyue during the end of the Qin Dynasty, but it's been long gone. Nanyue is no longer existent. There are a lot of units to talk about and look at, so it's kind of hard to just go over them, but we're not going to look too much in detail. I'll highlight some of the key differences. So for example, here we have a Nanyue rider. They're playing on the flair of having some tribal units. We're going to see a lot of Nanyue suffix in front of these, or prefix in front of these units. Another thing to note on these cards is that they added in this bonus versus cavalry and bonus versus infantry. This is something that's always been in the game. It's not something added by the mod. The mod is only adding it to the unit card stats so you can see it. So you always knew that there are units like spear units that get bonus versus cavalry, and for cavalry units or some sword units technically counter infantry. So this shows you how much extra damage is added onto your combined damage stat as you deal it to the enemy. That's what this figure is. So basically it adds to your attack. Everything else works the same. We also see here the Ba refugee cavalry, Ba referring to the commandery, the commanderies near the E province, the Shuba region today. I guess refugees escaping from there into our territory of the Jiao province. And notice here, because this unit uses a spear, can I lock onto it? It has a bonus against cavalry. That's why spear units kill cavalry pretty fast, because you're getting 13 extra damage when you fight cavalry. That's why shot cavalry beats melee cavalry, because they use a spear. And then we have Northern Mounted Archers, which is quite interesting as a unit that we get as a faction. I don't understand the logic here. How are we getting Northern Mounted Archers? And another thing the mod does, or I have noticed it do, is it nerf all range unit range. So for Archer unit here, we're looking at 180. This in the base game is the range of militia archers, the lowest in the game for archers. There's still, you know, repeating crossbowmen and that's lower range, or javelin is lower range. But for archers, 180 is on the absolute low end. But if we take a look at something like militia, I don't actually have one on me, do I? No, I don't. But let's take a crossbowman. Usually it's 220. Here is 205. And then archers drop down to 180. This is still archer. I guess it's called a raider versus the archer. The raider is actually more interesting here because it has high charge. Like, here's the key difference, right? The charge difference and whether they have a shield or not. The Northern Mounted Archers seems to carry a shield with 40% range block chance. It's still a blue unit, so it doesn't get additional bonuses from, let's say, the nobility skill. But here, you drop the shield entirely, and it looks like you get extra charge for that. We have a javelin unit, reminiscent of the Naval javelin unit, short range, 85. High armor piercing damage with that javelin, and they carry a big shield. I think it just feels like a very similar unit to the actual Naman version of the javelin throwers. We have Nanyue beast hunters. I don't know what makes them beast hunters. There's no like special traits. It seems like they carry axes, which is what's giving them shield breaker. They have 195 range, which looks very respectable now that we saw some 180 range on archers. Pretty decent attack rate. Damage is alright, actually. I guess if they're holding like dual axes, this will make sense. But interesting unit. We'll have a chance to try all of these. This is the typical heavy, nothing new here. And these, I believe, are Liang Kai archers. Interesting name, because I was reading this, and this is where I don't see the Chinese characters, so I'm assuming this is going to be Liang Kai. Kai meaning armor, Liang meaning two. So double layered armor, which, I mean, sure, this is probably more than the regular medium units, right? This is a medium unit. If you're looking for a light unit, can we find one? Light unit 16. So double light 32. At least the name match up. And you're going to have like a Liang Kai version of archer, and there's like Liang Kai versions of other units too. Here, spearmen. And then you have Liang Kai versions of... Oh, that's it. Spear and archers. Yeah, we're going to get used to these. New dragon units. We'll take a look at the reform tree for those. House guards. This seems to be a new javelin heavy spear guard variant here. I mean, typically that means great things, right? If we can get some turtle formations on these guys, you can move in turtle and fire while moving, which is something you did with Naman units. Pretty fun. They also have the bonus against cavalry, limited ammo but very hard hitting ammo, good range block chance if they can get formations, which we don't know right now because we haven't recruited them, because once he hits level 4, if we have a strategist, then technically he should have, you know, formations. Not sure yet, but assuming he does, it should be pretty good unit. Nanyue spearmen, not a fan of these. Ba guards, looks like a medium, just Z infantry. Nothing too special. I guess there's an ability here called focus on combat. If they're in melee, it's a stacking melee evasion, extra armor piercing. Oh, that's pretty good. loses 25% armor. So all in offensively, a little bit less defensively, but 50% extra melee evasion for sustained combat, driving them up to 87%. That seems pretty strong, not gonna lie. Let's see if anyone else had ability that we kind of missed. Nope, sadly that's the only one. No one has like snipe or stock either, so kind of disappointed there. Jasper Dragon. Dragon units we'll take a look at later. Ba Axemen, so yeah, we see the shield breaker here. Nothing too crazy. Charge is high, but that's an axe unit, expected. 9-unit warriors. I feel like he basically gets a similar roster as the non-money units from the game with different stats, obviously. And some northern themed refugees and Ba themed refugees. That seems to be the trend. I think if we switch to a different class of characters, you can see the roster expand to a even crazier proportion. There are just tons of units in this mod. 两刀, which I'm guessing is their version of double sword. Twin blades, yeah. I don't know if the mod maker has slightly limited understanding of Chinese. Like, if you're using dual swords, the Chinese word for it would be 双刀. Like, no one's gonna say 两刀. It's just the wrong word for it, right? Like, when you say two swords in English, you say a pair of swords. You don't go two sword, right? It's like the wrong word for it. You describe someone use two swords, or you say he uses a pair of sword, right? So this should be 双. 两凯 also sounds really weird, but anyways, we're gonna look past that. Dao obviously being a saber weapon. Heavy base damage here, not a fan. These are regular units. Here is someone else. 颜月刀. I gotta look at, see what they're trying to say. I mean, it's a special type of doll, I guess. 颜月, 颜月刀. Maybe it's 颜月刀. Playing on a word like Guan Yu's weapon. Yeah, there's a tone thing. So if it's not written in Chinese, then I'm guessing it's using like basically Guan Dao, right? What you imagine Guan Yu's weapon. It'd be yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so they're trying to play on Guan Yu's weapon's name. Armor Jian Sword Guard, Heavy Axeman, 9-unit units, Ba Axemen. Anything new here? I guess if we have anything new, it'd be mainly purple unit, which he can recruit as a, Sentinel. And if we look at the champion, we're gonna see more and different green units, hopefully. Heavy Spear Warriors, for example. So this will be the Spear Warrior upgrade. Now, Spear Warriors are not terrible units in the game for their price, to be honest. They have decent charge, and they have pretty high damage, mainly in armor piercing, which is still the case here. Their weakness, obviously, is they don't carry a shield, which is rather weak. Yeah, so far the Ba guards are what's catching my eye with this special ability, If you have something different, gonna pay more attention to you. Now, he doesn't actually get any special green units, which is a little bit disappointing. All right, and we'll obviously try to look at other classes. It's a good thing we have a bunch of different class characters. We don't have a single Vanguard right now, so I can't really check for different shot cavalry options. Doesn't seem like we have many. Seems like we're rather focused on infantry. Now, obviously, if you want to dive into the units, I think Radious mod have a huge slide, like they have a slide presentation of all the units they added into the game, and you can take a look at that. Aside from those changes, we mentioned there's changes to buildings, and it's actually quite big. So if we look at any building with base income, by default in the base game, 500 income here for the regular state workshop, and here it should be like 350. So you can see a significant boost to the raw income number, and that's really the only changes that you can expect here. If we move to private workshop, the percentages did not change, but notice how they compensated the one that you usually never go for here with 4% replenishment to kind of entice you to choose between the two, because the upgrade here is just so much better that you always go for this versus this, because the two percentage are both higher. So there was never a reason why you would come for this building. Therefore, I guess they're trying to throw you a bone, give you 4% replenishment. I think they do that quite a bit here with different buildings. We can take a look at all of them. So you see now the labor building actually provides base industry, whereas it never did that in the base game. And it also provides a good amount of percentage to industry, which it did provide, a local population growth, which it did provide. But now it punishes you with a bit of public water discount or penalty, which I never really minded. But essentially, industry building becomes your second, the labor building becomes your second industry base income multiplier in the game here. And it's actually pretty significant with 300 plus 40% here and huge population growth for faction-wide income. It does require you have salt and iron, but you can definitely try to get those. In terms of this, not much change. I think this got a 10% increase to the food production. It should be like 150-50. 100, 100. Yeah, these are the same, I think. Here we have more income, I think. 250 feels slightly higher. I think the old one's like 240, I want to say. Not a significant change, I feel like. Yeah, maybe only a 10-point bump, if anything. Oh, these got huge bumps. 420 seems very high. Also a population or like a public order, penalty here. I think that's what they're trying to throw in here. The amount of food you sell is not that high either. 7 food, I think it used to be 12 food or something. So for one more public order, and if you have livestock, you get the percentage multiplier to commerce, but you don't get 20 extra peasantry. Now this trade-off becomes a little bit more interesting, because if you're not doing that much commerce, then this just straight up better. Did they improve? No, they didn't improve the granary. Granary's still bad. Okay, let's see. That income number feels inflated. Yep, I think they just inflated the income numbers here for all of these. Since we're close to spice, this is definitely king for us. In building, yep, inflated income figures. And I think the reason why they inflated all these are the same, is because they want to encourage you to build a lot of the new units. And also give the AI the option to create more armies, I guess, because now the AI is going to be making more money too. And just basically more army, more action type of theory here. This feels like a slight nerf to redeployment cost discount. I don't know why they feel like that 1% nerf is necessary. Like 5% is such a nice number to have. Why nerf it to 4% here? Yeah, that's kind of weird. Ooh, local army experience boost. That is new, I think. That is something they added. It was not the case here before. And I think they added the specialized recruitment costs discount. I don't remember that before. Maybe I just never built enough of these buildings to notice, but I don't think that was there. Anything change with these? I think I'm still never going to build these. Yep, I'm still never going to build these. They just cost money to house a small army. It doesn't really do anything for your faction. Oh, they took away the 500 base peasantry here. That's no longer here on the base palace building. Okay, then this is not that good. Why don't we go for like this? Right, you do lose half of the income boost, but the 20% it's adjacent versus local 16. And the upkeep is so high here, right? It used to make sense with the high upkeep with the 500 peasantry. Now it's gone. Okay. Oh, this is different. We get corruption reduction as well. They're trying to entice you to build a temple, which I still think it's a waste of money. Although the discount on buildings is a lot less. Did they scale that? Oh, they did. 5%, 6%. So every upgrade scales up to 10 instead of up to 15. It used to be like 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 15%. That's no longer the case here. It scales up to 10%. It's actually going to cost us more to build buildings. Okay, I feel like they scaled down the public order penalty, but increased the income, making the tax collector building stronger. I like the sound of that. Did they scale up the income for these? 240? I don't know if the income changed, but I definitely know the campaign movement range was not there. That's new. Bamboo gives 10% campaign movement range, which really makes no sense. But anyhow, if anything, bamboo forests, if you ever try to move around in those things, you don't move very fast. Oh, this also gives 10. Is that just every county gives 10% campaign movement range? The income's increased. It used to be 100 commerce. This is 200. That's actually significant. Food, I feel, is actually inflated too. I don't think it was just 9 food before. I think it's not that high. 11 food, 16 prestige. Prestige number is also kind of weird. They linearized the prestige. It used to be like 5, 5, 5, 10, 15. Or like 5, 5, 10, 10, 15. Now it's like every level up gives you a little bit. I mean, which is nice. Ultimately, it's buffed. I mean, even the progression's buffed. Because once you get to 3, you need a reform to get to 4 and 5. Alright, speaking of reforms, that's enough about buildings, even though I kind of want to see what they did to other counties. Right? So every county is getting 10% to local county. So you just move faster when you own the county. I think that's the logic, right? You own it, you have the road control, you move 10% faster. I can accept that. T, did they boost the income here? Yes, they did. Okay. And it looks like the retinue is also changed. I think they're giving better units. Or more localized units, I guess, because it looks like this is like a Naman territory unit, right? And then here you have more of a Han structure. Yeah, okay. Let's look at the capital bonuses. What did they change here? I feel like the base peasantry got boosted. It used to be like 25 only. Now it feels a little bit higher. Commerce, minus food, population, prestige. Also, so basically there's 10% campaign movement range in local if you own it. And it's always local county, so it's basically just 10% flat to all your own land. 150% commerce. That feels the same. I just feel like the 200 peasantry is increased. Alright. I guess we kind of got a glimpse of all the counties and buildings, at least that we own. We can take a look at the reforms now. Now, obviously, they didn't add new reforms, but they added new unit unlocking things to the reform tree. So, for example, if we want this heavy spear warrior, it's now part of the junk reform. So, obviously, getting your fishing port somehow gives you a heavy spear unit. Like, some details don't really make a lot of sense. And then the dragon units here, we saw there's new dragon units, not for all of them. So for example, the blue unit do not have a new dragon unit unless you come take a look at, not that one. I think there is a new blue unit though. Maybe not. No, it's here. It's here. It's just on a different reform. We have what's called the Emerald Dragon. So there is a new blue dragon unit. It looks like a heavy crossbow infantry with a heavy shield. A good amount of damage, 215 range. So you see the range have all been nerfed down here. 38 ammo. I don't know. Like, compare that to our Imperial crossbowmen. So same range. Doesn't that look the same? Hold on. Let me draw a compare. Let me lock onto it somehow. Can't lock onto it if it's grayed out. I'm trying to right click it to lock the card. I guess I can't because it's grayed out. All right, just let me quick look at damage, right? 11, 20, 45, 38. 10, 20, 45, 38. But these are level 1. These are automatically level 10. So the stat... Oh no, they're giving the level 1 stat. So they're still going to be better in terms of just the crossbow part. The damage part I see is lower, right? 30, 26, 8 versus like 24. Actually, I don't know. 24, 21, 14. 24 attack. The attack speed did drop. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, okay, consider they don't have the replenishment, you know, penalty. Sure, maybe they are better. But not in terms of raw power, but just like utility-wise. And you can see that Onyx Dragon no longer has 250 range. It dropped to 230. I think that's the max in this game now with the mod. Jasper Dragons. Sword and Shield. So like a upgraded Saber infantry type. Okay. I mean, when we get there, we'll take a look at them. I doubt we'll go for the purple one, though. We have a new Sapphire Dragon. That's a melee cavalry. Slower than Imperial Household. More range block chance. Way less charge. Same sword attack. Higher evasion. Higher evasion, lower morale. Not as good. I mean, sure, same thing. Doesn't have the replenishment penalty. Okay. What about the red units? It's probably on different reform, isn't it? No. There is no red special dragon? Really? And we know there's a green one, Cobalt Dragon. They look like a spear variant rather than a glaive variant. Yeah, the damage profile on the weapon's completely different. Better against horses, basically. They're not showing the anti-cavalry stat on this unit card. Did they miss it? It should be 8 points, judging by the weapon. Like, glaive seems to be an 8-point anti-cavalry, 4-point anti-infantry type of weapon. Anyhow, that's the main changes. I don't think they change anything in terms of like what each reform actually do. I think it's just the units, the new units they added are incorporated into the reform, but the balancing on the reform was not changed. And we'll be focusing pretty heavily on the blue tree, given that we are focused on trade. We're probably going to try to play tall, run a bunch of vassals, play diplomatically. Yeah, that's pretty much the goal here. What else has changed here that we need to talk about? I think the character's salary has also been tweaked. So for MTU, it dropped from 150 to 100. Here, it looks like the base salary has been dropped to 50. Because Jiangmin's the only one who's in our faction who's not family, which you can see that not member of the Shi family is -5. That's a weakness we have to deal with. Everyone else who is family is free, unless they have this is free. This is his units, unless they have like a title. Like in this case, he has a title, which we're gonna get rid of and then make him a administrator here. Yeah. So most of our money spending is going towards upkeep. We have a school. That's a waste of money. Let's just assign him to commerce, food. Right, there's like no synergy anywhere, so yeah, we're gonna go for it here. Path to Glory. Build a building anywhere, support from merchant, 8% from commerce. So for him, build a building anywhere. Number one concern is you shouldn't be a warrior anymore. He'll bounce back. And a lot of unhappy faces. And we're not going to concern ourselves with too much. There is an inn here. There is a harbor here. These got changed too. This was 50% in base game, but the mod's making it 60. We also get 200 commandery line of sight when we do similar market. That's also a change. Okay. Well, we have 2 assignments. Who is our heir? Faithful of Shi. Well, if he's not heir, level 4 is going to make him hate us. So that's not possible, even though I kind of would want Shi Xie to do it. He is my oldest son. He just got sent over as a hostage to the Kingdom of Wu historically. I think we'll keep our generals given they're so low cost. There is this army here that we can technically fight in the beginning. Sure, let's just take Yulin first. All of these commanders are pretty lucrative given the amount of money that's given out. It'd be quite nice. Now the question is, do I even need to go... Like, do I need to go attack him directly here? I guess we'll just face off with his army. That's fine. Would he catch us out with fatigue in battle? He wouldn't dare. Not with this stack. Yeah, he wouldn't dare. Alright. We're gonna be collecting taxes. We're gonna be destroying schools. We're gonna be boosting income just here. Gonna keep you guys busy for now. What item did I get on turn 1? Land Shaper. We got 2 weapons though. Can't give them anything. Yeah, one of them is actually useless. We always start out with the Stone Pig. We also start out with the Silver Strategist armor. Our wife can play dress up for now. Right, speaking of items actually, Shi Xie starts out with some very nice items, and you can't really remove them. Yeah, I think that's fine for him. Because if you take a look at his item, it's part of sets with his armor. With the bow, he gets 50% firing rate for his own army. And with the sword, he gets 10% melee evasion for his own army. So, very powerful boost. Right, I also didn't see siege weapons as part of this special units, but we'll see next turn when we can actually recruit stuff. I'm probably not gonna... actually, I want another building slot, but maybe we can wait till the trigger. When this finishes, we'll get the discount going, I believe. No, support from merchants. Actually, no discount. So let's just upgrade that then. And that should take us to a place where we have no money. Now, we can proceed, most likely, but I want to know what bonuses we got. No spy points, 1 administrator point, 2 assignment point, no trade point. Okay, so the 3 free points we got is 2 in assignment, 1 in trade. We might max trade and max assignments. And max administrator, administrator, traits, trade. Definitely maxing administrator for this faction. Assignments for character experience and character salary decrease feels less valuable now the character salary is not that bad. But if we don't max it, we pretty much can't max another one, right? Because you can only max 3 things. We already got points in... Yeah, we can then max only 2 of them. Trade, I think we'll max diplomatic bonus at the end there, and also additional trade with our vassals seems good. Spy, we can probably just rely on our reform since we're going heavy into the blue reform. And then for army counts... Wait, how do we have so many armies provided? That's weird. We'll check that out when we do get to the prestige upgrade. I wonder if the mod gives us extra armies, because the whole point of increasing income and everything is like so you can field more armies. Which is an interesting take on the game. Alright, you should lead actually. Get that reach going. Alright, we are done with our first turn. We didn't even do any trade. Can we actually trade with anyone? I mean, we didn't fight anything, so it didn't feel urgent to trade. Alright, we do have control of a port, so that means we can talk to other factions like the High Empire. It's 0.8. We're 25, that's pretty much as high as we can get it. We can combine a few things. We seem to have a lot of extra food. And they're usually not that generous, but it looks doable here. What item did they start out with? Oh, terrible items, terrible items. Okay, I guess we'll just be getting a trade deal with you. And a non-aggression. Oh, we gotta tinker this a little bit. What is our trending value now? 55, so it's not over 60. There's no point to boost it. Ooh. I'm interested in that. Let's see what else everyone else have. Do we have vision on Sun Jian? We don't. Can't get the seal. Or else that would be great. A eunuch. Eunuch is good to give to a faction that you want to mess up, you know, their satisfaction. The water clock is actually underrated. I'm actually surprised we can trade items with a Naval faction on turn 1. I guess items is always allowed. So his spell is up for grab. Not that good. Rather have the book, to be honest. But the shaman item we already saw, that's pretty much what we would love to get. His red wind bow. We can pick it off his body. I mean, you know, we'll keep him alive, but we can pick it up from him later. There's no incentive to peace out with anyone here. Okay, so I think we're gonna go back to Dongzhuo, is it? We are... I'll check later. I don't need this bronze weapon. Oof. Oof. That's pricey. It's very pricey. I have food. Is the capture rate of getting generals worth trading away our soul on turn 1? I mean, he's so rich that I don't think he cares about our cash. He's also not willing to be our friend. Yeah, maybe this 10% capture rate is just not worth it. Alrighty, and given there's not that many unique generals that we can capture early on, we'll survive without it. Alright, now I think we're good. We can actually go to turn 2 without crying about anything. No one's gonna leave us. Let's go. Alright, we got the Naman factions working hard. That means she picked up fire archers. That's what the Yunnan tribe is known for. Ooh, huge roster of different characters. Xu Huang. Ah, they must have a mod modifier for satisfaction of Han generals. Pushing Han generals off the court. Okay, that's interesting. So obviously we will love to pick up Xu Huang. And then I guess we can be sure he's not a spy because I think this is definitely the mod's doing. Zheng Xuan, Zhao Qian, Lu Kang. Zhao Zhi, father of Tun Tian. Him and Han Hao basically set up the Tun Tian method for Cao Cao. Not gonna care too much about them though. Yeah, Xu Huang would be our man. How would we utilize him though? Surprisingly not discontent. Dutiful trait. Ah, okay. Wait, what? Is this a bug? Oh no, we're on records mode. What am I thinking? Right. The damage is small because we are now just a unit. So that's actually super high, right? If you have a cavalry unit with 66 armor piercing, that's actually super high. Right. I freaked out for a second, thinking that my weapon lost thousands of damage. Alright, he's unbreakable, unit upkeep, great stuff. His starting retinue is huge. It's not good. It's just expensive to get him out. So we might sacrifice one of our generals to summon him. Like, if we take a look at one of our general, if we swap, he costs 2,000. That's not that bad, actually. Yeah, I guess we don't have to kill a family member to do that. Although we do have a non-family member who we can kill. Anyhow, that's a pretty decent development for us. We're waiting for this building to finish to trigger the next mission, but in the meantime, I think we're ready to go to war before they recruit too many things. Now, we can recruit a couple of siege weapons to force them to charge out at us. Like I said, there is no Juggernaut here. I think that has more to do with the mod. I think the mod takes away the Juggernaut for some reason. That's kind of weird. I guess they think it's too fantasy here to be included. I would argue otherwise, but my argument doesn't count here. Flaming shots all the way over here. Fire arrows all the way over here. So we don't have any of those. I guess we can fight a bloody siege, because most of these units I would like to disband after this battle. So I guess we can take some damage, no big deal. Do I have an extra trade route that I didn't use? Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I didn't have a faction who I actually could trade with. Now before we jump into battle, we would like to get value for this. Yeah, items all equipped. Oh, he actually didn't equip... Well, I guess he didn't have anyone in the faction to equip these items, but... they're a little bit pricey, not gonna lie. Maybe I can get a bit more from you. Okay, now we can fight with Reckless Abandon. Let's try our first record mode battle in Three Kingdoms. Alright, we're absolutely favored. I like that. That's their faction leader, Ying Shao. So he's not going to duel us. Faction leaders rarely duel. Wait, I just recognized something. They changed the unit size, didn't they? This is the mod. I'm still on large unit size. And we have 150 infantry, 120 range units, 150 infantry, and then cavalry is 38. They just adjusted everything. They try to balance where they weakened the range units, I feel like. Anyways, let's fight it. Alrighty, we're not fighting where there's like stacks and stacks of towers. We're going over here in the back. We're charging at them, obviously, so we would be taking a bunch of damage, but we would prefer to, reduce the damage to just 2 towers. These aren't even going to overlap here. Guerrilla deployment. Ooh. We can do 90% range resistant to set up over here, where we can just absorb, like they can absorb the damage, right? These are units that we will most likely disband afterward. Let them shoot us. Now preferably we also don't want to cramp up in this little corner. It'd be hard to break in. Oh, by the way, our generals, take a look. They are now a cavalry unit. And you have Shi Xie sitting in the middle here. And your damage is passed along, your health is divided along, and that's why the damage figure is so different. That's the same for these generals here. Now obviously your cavalry units are more elite, and depending on the class, different health levels. We would probably want to still play with the AI in terms of deployment. We want to trick them to deploy thin. By that I mean deploy the wrong gates, right? We want to show units in different areas to force them, units that we are not going to miss in this attack, basically. So basically I'll keep a unit over here, so they deploy some over here, keep a unit over there. And our main assault force still be over here. I don't know if they will actually charge out at us. Like the whole idea here is we get them to start shooting at them, these two only, right? And then we'll start advancing units up into a charge, mainly this group. Who's fast? You stay here with the range block chance. You and you are gonna sneak in here. We need to break through and flank people through this. Force them to scramble. So I don't even want him here. I would want him over here. These two will join the offensive party. So here's the idea. We want them to deploy units at that gate, and we want to deploy them units at maybe this gate. Leave that side blank, because they technically shouldn't be able to see us. Have them defend this. We charge our forces in with 50% range block chance, giving them 100. These get shot and get injured the whole time. We sneak these two in, take control of this, ride through this, because capturing this is pointless, and then charge behind to create an opening so that no one traffic jams over here. Alright, let's see if it works. Kind of. Alright, time is of the essence. These are already getting shot, so we just have to move them up. I think, yeah, they have the best charge, I believe, so they're going to lead the attack. They're going to go over here and start, I think they push forward, actually. No one's here. Take the gate. I'm only gonna give this group, I mean it's kind of wasted now, but we can fire now, right? Yes, fire away. They're not even responding to these guys. Yeah, we're basically using a Z militia to occupy a couple cavalry. Like 3 units being occupied over here, 2 units being occupied here. Great. Alright, they're in. Take control of that while we're here. Alright, we're gonna go bust up their archers. Maybe kill their generals. No, we want to open. Oh, they pulled back. Yes, perfect. That means everyone go in. New targets would be the range units. All right, we're forcing them to pull back a little, which is great. Drive these guys back. Push forward. Drop your formations. I'm not gonna go chase them into the towers over there, although getting shot is no fun. Push back over here, maybe? Alright, we made contact with one of their range units, which is great. 3 seconds until we can give them another boost. Break through that line. Ultimately, I want them to set up. Why can't I select both? Set up like that. Drive through that unit. Chase, chase, chase. You chase into those 3. Oh, getting shot. Pull back a little. Actually, now you guys can find an opening here. He's going to chase all 3 of those while you guys battle this way. Back him up. Alright, we're gonna have them set up so they fight. Ooh, we got ourselves a fight. Let's boost our melee evasion. Let's boost our armor. Spear versus cavalry. Axe versus these. Swords help. Chase the next one down. Yeah, bring that guy down. We're gonna have a hard time killing them because we're on horseback. Their cavalry should counter us, but I can't do too much right now against that. I'm hoping to grab and kill them. Alright, we kill that. Let's go see if we can assist anywhere else. He should be fine. Maybe lend a hand. Speed that up a little. These spears should kill him quickly. I can't get them into a good place. Maybe we can move them over here. Did they kill this? No. Come on. Maybe you come this way too. There's enough men here. Armor boost. Why are they going the wrong place? Oh, I give them a different command. I see, I see. Yeah, cavalry units are rough to deal with. We can't even pull them out right now. I guess we can. This guy's lasting forever. Okay, he broke through. Come back here and help. There's not a lot of easy path for us to take over here. We gotta just break through here. I'm trying to get these guys to shoot at something, but they can't because of the limited range. Let's call these two so I can select them a little easier. Alright, we're gonna pull them back over here. Take control of the gate. No need to get killed. Speaking of getting killed, can we kill him? Man, does it take a while to kill this general. There we go. Alright. Looks like they have very limited places to charge. Like, if I can form a wall here, and then form a wall here, run my guys up here, flank over, flank over. Look like you guys can come back, charge at them, form a line. Yeah, it's in the firing range. Alright, we got the line set up. Kind of stopped the charge, that's the whole point. It can't charge here, there's no, you see that you can't actually place unit here. But we can go help. It looks like this side's safe. We're running into their spear as well, which we don't want. Axe unit, go kill their spear. Yeah, this plaza is just, you can't stand on this plaza, I guess. Can we be less crowded so I can get my boys to start firing? Let them run into us, please. We have a range block chance boost. Let's boost our units. Alright, let's pour generals away. Alright, kill these. Don't chase. Break formation. Okay, we're shredding them. Alright, they're losing. Chance of friendly fire? Pretty low, given the shape of the army setup. Yep. A few friendly fires. Okay, but I think we can stop. I think they're gonna break. Nice. One of you need to go here. Oh, they're routing. Good. We have won this battle. -1 general. Is she unbreakable? She's not. Okay, then she just needs to feel a couple shots or something like that. No, you guys can stay. You guys don't have to go anywhere. I was gonna move them up, but the tower is not captured yet, so. She gonna leave? Okay, if she's gonna leave, we're not gonna move forward anymore because she's taking damage for no reason. Ah, finally. Yeah, record mode battles are just gonna take a little longer. Alrighty, and basically your units are the star now, the generals not so much. You get more passive boosting abilities than anything else. So, do we want to capture them? It looks like we can steal items even if we release now with the mod. We have a burnt officer who's only 33. Welcome to the team. You, on the other hand, I'm just going to be releasing you. Alright, with that battle out of the way, we'll be ending our episode here. We got our first taste of record mode battle. It will continue. We're going to be pushing on into them. You can see there's a health level for all the generals' units. And we'll try our best to capture the rest of Yulin and pick up with the rest of the campaign moving forward. We're starting out with a fair bit of good generals thanks to the mod, and hopefully we'll put everyone to good use. So until next time, bye!